the Armed Services Committee. Ms. Strickland, you have 5 minutes.
Great, thank you, Chair and Ranking Member Crawford. It's my honor to be here today for my first hearing as Vice Chair of the subcommittee, especially as we look forward to the future of high-speed rail and how this is going to increase our competitiveness, equity, and economic development. So I'm thrilled to start with Rachel Smith of the Seattle Metro Chamber of Commerce to speak to high-speed rail opportunities in the Pacific Northwest and Washington State. Now, as you've noted in your testimony, Ms. Smith, the Cascadia Ultra High Speed Rail Corridor line could result in the reduction of 6 million metric tons of CO2 over the first 40 years of operation. So from an environmental perspective and for the economic development of the metropolitan Seattle region, it's clear that this investment will do a lot of work.
They only have Democrats here now.
So Ms. Smith, how's the Pacific Northwest, through Cascadia or otherwise, uniquely poised to implement high-speed rail spurred by federal investments?
Well, thank you, Congresswoman, so much for the question. Our region is poised in so many different ways to take advantage of robust federal investment in ultra high-speed rail. First of all, we have the coalition. So as I mentioned in my testimony, we have elected officials from the highest levels of government in our state and nationally, all the way down to local elected officials who have said they support high-speed rail being developed in our community. So we really have robust coalition support to do this. We also have a history in our region of, as I said, sort of partnerships to get big projects like this done. Typically we rely from a funding perspective on local, regional, and state taxes, public-private partnerships, which have been mentioned, fare box recovery, and other sort of internal revenue generation, and then, of course, a robust federal partnership. So we exercise those muscles well to be able to put together funding package to accomplish big projects. We also have a great relationship with our labor community in terms of both the public and private sector, and I think that is, helps streamline all of the work that we would want to do for the actual project delivery. And then, I think, again, at the end of the day, our community has made a commitment to transit. We have made a commitment to transit in our bus service. We've made a commitment to transit in light rail. We recently passed a $54 billion light rail light rail package. In 2016 and 2008, we passed an $18 billion light rail package, $18 billion light rail package. So our community has made those commitments to transit, and we're starting to see the benefits of that. So I really think that we are poised in every way, from coalition to funding to partnerships with labor to a commitment to this kind of technology and this kind of growth in our community.
Great, and I have one other question for you. We know that congestion on Interstate 5 I describe as soul crushing, whether you're trying to get from Seattle to Tacoma down to Joint Base Lewis McChord into the state capitol. And this has everything to do with access to jobs. It has to do with readiness for our troops at JBLM, the largest military base on the West Coast. And we know that we often say to folks, well, let's just add another lane of highway. And I'm sure this was touched on already, but can you talk again about what the Secretary of Transportation for the state has said about the cost of adding a lane of I-5 on the same corridor versus investing in ultra high speed rail?
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is there is no way to meet the capacity to move people through the highway system as there is on transit. Every rail line that we add is exponentially more people. And when we really think about, the efficient movement of people and goods, there is absolutely a need for our highway and road system to work. As I said in my testimony, to carry goods from our manufacturing and farms into our communities, cities, and towns. But for the efficient movement of people, we really need to have robust investments in transit and rail, that sort of reliable, grade separated rail, again, exponentially moves more people and does it at a cost lower than a new highway lane in our region or in any region.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. I yield back, Mr.